It's strange how one decision, just one, can change everything. For Kaori, that decision came at 11:37 p.m., standing alone in the freezing rain, staring at a bus she almost didn't take. She didn't know it yet, but this one ride was about to become the turning point of her life. Kaori wasn't what you'd call lucky. Life had been throwing punches her way for years. A failed business, a breakup that left her feeling hollow, and now, jobless, with nothing but an eviction notice on her desk and a suitcase half-packed, she was ready to call it quits. Earlier that day, she had spent hours walking around the city, submitting resumes to jobs she didn't even want. Her friends stopped calling months ago. Family, too far away, both physically and emotionally. Every part of her life felt like it was crumbling, and there wasn't a single thing she could do to stop it. When night fell, Kaori found herself at the edge of the city, standing at a desolate bus stop, rain dripping from her coat. She wasn't even sure where she wanted to go, just anywhere but here. At 11:37 p.m., the last bus of the night screeched to a halt in front of her. The door hissed open, and the driver, a gray-haired man with tired eyes, looked at her expectantly. Kaori hesitated. She didn't know why, but something about this moment felt different, almost heavy, like the universe was waiting for her to decide. Finally, she stepped on. The bus was nearly empty, save for a few passengers scattered across the seats. A middle-aged man holding a bouquet of wilted flowers, a teenage girl scribbling in a notebook, and an elderly woman gazing out the window, her face unreadable. Kaori sat near the back, staring out at the rain-soaked streets. She didn't know where this bus was going, and in that moment, she didn't care. As the bus rolled through the dark streets, Kaori's thoughts were a storm of regret and frustration. She barely noticed when the teenage girl stood up and walked to the front of the bus, her notebook clutched to her chest. "Excuse me," the girl said, her voice shaky. I wrote a poem. Can I read it?" The driver glanced at her through the rearview mirror and shrugged. "Go ahead, kid." The girl took a deep breath and began to read. Her voice was soft, but her words carried weight. It was a poem about feeling invisible, about wanting to matter in a world that doesn't seem to care. Kaori found herself leaning forward, hanging on every word. When the girl finished, the bus was silent for a moment, before the elderly woman clapped softly. "That was beautiful, dear," she said. The girl smiled, her face lighting up with a mixture of pride and relief. Kaori felt something stir in her chest. It was small, like the flicker of a match, but it was there. A reminder that she wasn't alone in her struggles. The bus stopped again, and the man with the bouquet stood up. He hesitated at the door, then turned to the rest of the passengers. "You know," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "I bought these flowers for someone I was too afraid to talk to. But listening to that poem, I don't know, it reminded me that it's never too late to try." He looked around, embarrassed. Would anyone like these? They shouldn't go to waste. The elderly woman smiled and reached out. "I'll take them," she said, "and I'll make sure they find someone who needs them." Kaori watched this exchange with wide eyes. Something about it felt surreal, almost magical. Strangers, opening up to one another in a way she'd never seen before. For the first time in what felt like forever, she felt a small glimmer of hope. By the time the bus reached its final stop, Kaori wasn't sure she wanted to get off. She felt like she had been part of something rare, something that reminded her of the goodness in people. Even in the midst of hardship, the driver announced the last stop, and as Kaori stood to leave, the elderly woman touched her arm. "Dear, you look like you've been carrying the weight of the world. Whatever it is, don't let it break you. Remember, even the darkest nights end with a sunrise." Kaori stepped off the bus, her mind spinning. The rain had stopped, and the first light of dawn was beginning to creep over the horizon. She looked at the city around her, still quiet and peaceful, and for the first time in months, she felt something she thought she'd lost, a spark of possibility. Life is full of unexpected turns. Sometimes, hope doesn't come as a grand gesture or a perfect plan. It comes as a chance encounter, a kind word, or a small act of courage. Kaori's story is a reminder that even when everything feels lost, there's always a bus waiting to take you somewhere new. All you have to do is step on. No matter where you are or what you're going through, hold on to hope. You never know what's waiting at the next stop.